Japan has delayed the restart of a reactor at the world's largest nuclear plant. The TEPCO plant was shut down after the 2011 Fukushima disaster and is now expected to come back online in the coming days. But it comes on the heels of a safety scandal at another Japanese nuclear plant where it was found the operator had fudged data about earthquake risks. For more, I'm joined by a special lecturer in Japanese studies at Kanda University, Dr. Jeffrey Hall. Good to have you back with us on the program. Now, the use of nuclear power is back at the fold with this data scandal at the Hamaoka plant. Might this affect the sort of confidence residents have with nuclear energy, with Fukushima still fresh on the minds of many people?
Well, Fukushima is somewhat fresh on the minds of some people in Japan, but 15 years is a long time. And Japan, initially after the nuclear disaster, they had very large anti-nuclear protests, politicians who campaigned against the nuclear power plants restarting. But in the years since, the anti-nuclear movement has waned in Japan. And even though there are these occasional scandals, the scandals in some way prove that the government's regulators are able to get whistleblowers to talk to them to expose scandals and then pause the restarting of reactors that have been not submitting proper data. And so gradually over time, public opinion has become less against restarting the reactors. And some recent polls show as little as 25% or less of Japanese are against nuclear power. Almost half are in favor of it.
So in that case, would it present the Japanese government the justification to speed up the restarting of nuclear reactors to cope with rising energy costs and to reduce carbon emissions?
It certainly would. Japan has committed to cutting its carbon emissions to zero by 2050, and having all those power plants shut off while Japan is filling the gap with fossil fuels, including coal, is not going to get them anywhere close to that goal. So nuclear power is a carbon-free energy source. And as you mentioned, high energy costs have been a major issue for Japanese in recent years. The cost of living for everyone is a major issue in the upcoming election. So anything the government can do to reduce the cost of energy will be seen as a positive achievement.
Yes, and you're talking about these elections that are coming up. What do you make of the timing? What's in the timing of these snap polls that have been called, that are going to be called by the Prime Minister?
Well, Prime Minister Takaichi, she has very high approval ratings right now. Since entering office a few months ago as Japan's first ever female prime minister, coming from a humble background, not from the political elites, she's depicted very positively in the media. Her diplomacy has been praised by pundits on Japanese television. And so her approval ratings are so high that she probably feels that this is the best time to risk an election. And if she waits longer, she has to face the Diet's budget committee, which will be hitting her with all kinds of criticism because it's currently chaired by an opposition lawmaker. But if she's able to get this election to bring back a majority to the LDP, she can replace the head of the budget committee, have a smooth passing of the budget without having to answer too many questions about various scandals. And this is probably the goal that she's setting, although it might not be as easy as she thinks.
Yes, and in this case, how confident is she? You mentioned that she was happy to take on this risk of seeking a mandate in a snap poll. What are the polls saying in terms of the LDP's ability to perhaps gain a parliamentary majority?
That's the big question right now, because just after she announced that there would be a snap election, when she basically leaked it, the two major opposition parties, one of them who had used to be a coalition partner with the LDP, started a new political party, which has thrown the polls into sort of chaos, because polls up to this point have relied on previous polls as well to see if the data is correct. And with this new party, this combined centrist alliance, there aren't any real accurate ways so far to know just how easy it will be for Takaichi. Many indications are that it'll make urban districts especially difficult for her to win. So she could coast off her popularity and win a big victory, or she could end up losing seats for the LDP.
Yeah, so what might this new opposition alliance with the CDP and Komeito, how do you see them campaigning to perhaps embark on their own campaign to try and seize power from the LDP?
For them, the big issue is that they want to focus on cost of living for people. So they're offering tax cuts, consumption tax cuts. They've made a slogan that says, putting people's livelihood first. And so they're going to focus on the economy, which is the big issue for Japanese voters. But they've also had a shift of CDP politicians towards the center, getting rid of some of their anti-nuclear and their anti-U.S. base views and security views. So they will present themselves as a reasonable centrist alternative to the LDP that doesn't have all of the scandals of the LDP and wants to have more clean, transparent politics with funding being, very strictly regulated.
Okay, on to the elections then. Jeffrey Hall, really appreciate your thoughts on the program as always from Tokyo. Thank you so much.
Thank you.